thanks for taking a look at this short video on SAP Cybersecurity and how to reduce the attack surface in SAP. Reducing the attack surface is a very effective approach to improving security and can be a relatively straightforward activity. Today we'll talk about using the Unified Connectivity Tool, or UCON, to reduce the attack surface in SAP by blocking remote-enabled function modules and only allowing those function modules that are needed. This approach can reduce the attack surface in a typical S/4HANA or ECC ERP system by more than 90%. First, I'll provide a quick background on remote function calls, or RFC, then a quick overview of UCON, and then the high-level steps to deploy UCON in your SAP environment. If you're looking for more information on UCON, please check out the link below for a UCON training course, as well as coaching and other services around a UCON deployment. So next, let's cover some of the basic concepts and background for UCON. Here's a little bit of the background and terminology that are helpful when considering how to deploy the UCON tool. Remote function call, or RFC, is the standard SAP interface for communication between SAP systems. The way RFC works is that RFC calls a function module that's executed in a remote system. So the RFM, or remote function module, that's the function module that's being called on the remote system by the RFC. With RFMs, you can perform roughly the same activities in SAP that you can with T-codes or transaction codes, and there are tens of thousands of remote function modules in a typical SAP system like S/4HANA. In this scenario, the RFMs represent the attack surface. Having these tens of thousands of RFMs exposed for external communication is critical for systems integration with SAP, whether it's between two ABAP systems like ECC and CRM, or between ECC and some external system, or it could even be an end user connecting to SAP from their desktop using a scripting tool like Python or WinShuttle. But these exposed RFMs also pose a serious risk for cyber attacks. So the attack surface is the sum of all possible entry points or attack vectors where an unauthorized attacker can access a system or application to extract data or manipulate sensitive information. The smaller the attack surface, the easier it is to protect. So attack surface reduction is that effort to reduce the size of the attack surface to reduce the risk of a damaging cyber attack. In this scenario, we want to reduce the number of RFMs exposed for external communication. SAP has provided a tool for that called UCON, and we'll take a look at that on the next slide. UCON was introduced with SAP NetWeaver version 7.40. It's a free tool, it's easy to activate, and relatively simple to use. The basic concept is to leverage UCON to log all incoming RFC calls into an SAP system, and based on the log data collected over a period of time that you can determine is appropriate, develop a whitelist of the RFMs you want to allow. Let's say, for example, you see 500 RFMs being called over a 6-month period, and you decide to allow all 500 RFMs. The remaining 40,000 plus RFMs will be blocked. On the next slide, we'll look at how the UCON tool works. The whitelist provided by UCON is called the Default Communication Assembly, or CA. As mentioned, once you determine the RFMs you want to allow, you can add those to the CA. Everything else will get blocked once you activate the final phase in UCON. On the next slide, we'll look at the UCON deployment approach and the 3 different phases. Here are the 3 different phases to deploy the UCON tool. In phase 1, UCON is logging all RFC calls into the SAP system where the UCON tool has been activated. SAP recommends you stay in this phase at least 3 months, and ideally you would capture log data for financial close activities, including year-end. So you want to consider that when you're planning your UCON deployment. Remember, in the first phase, you're not blocking any function modules with UCON. Once you've logged the RFMs for the time required by your organization, you can move to the next phase, which is the evaluation phase. In the evaluation phase, there is a simulated runtime check for each RFC call that will determine if the RFM is on the CA. It will not block the call, but if the RFM is not on the CA, UCON will let you know, so you can decide if the RFM should be added to the CA or not. In the final phase, UCON will start blocking all the RFMs not on the CA. You can also determine how UCON will address new RFMs that are introduced after UCON is deployed. Thanks for watching this brief video on UCON. We hope you can use this information to reduce the attack surface in your SAP systems and reduce the risk of a cyber attack. If you're interested in more information on UCON or other SAP cybersecurity topics, please like the video, leave a comment or question below, or check out our website at sapcyberspecialists.com. Thank you.